Welcome to Accord Compliance. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm logged in now. For any few users, we'll be recording this webinar and sending it out with the slides afterwards. So today we are going to be giving a brief overview of conflict minerals reporting template industry standard and just sort of high level what you need to know to ensure that you can use it successfully. So I'll say that we are going to probably do this content within the next 15 minutes. We'll leave room at the question answers page, which I think will be important for you today. So please go ahead and enter your questions on the side panel throughout the webinar. And if not, you can always contact us at accord-compliance.com to submit any of your questions. Okay, so before diving deep into the subject, I'll give you a little bit information about us and who we are for anyone who's new. So at Accord, we are a partner for a variety of regulatory compliance program issues within your supply chain. So it's not just conflict minerals, although we do have a very highly specialized program for that and a module on our platform. I'll be the moderator for today's webinar, and I hope you enjoy it thoroughly. We also manage our certain general substance programs that include REACH and ROS, FMTs, all those things along those lines on the safety side. We also manage help with inspection and audits that would be done at the factory level. And that, as mentioned, we do have a very strong ethical sourcing program that includes conflict minerals, but as well as anti-human trafficking and anti-bribery, anti-corruption, anything to do with that field. And then overall, we also manage supply chain data collection. So that can be things like, some clarification or just general supply chain data questions that you want to do for your individual need. We manage that as well. Large portion of what we do, including what involves our service delivery team. So we are a team of seasoned client specialized personnel that manage every aspect of the compliance program. It's headed by our customer success manager, and that's essentially your ambassador to Accord when you deal with us. They help you with all of those needs, but they also drill down to what we can do for your supply chain. We have data miners who manage the identification side of your supply chain, but also if we need further information, like if you have incorrect data in your database, they will go out and seek the proper data records. We have a very strong training team, and they are there to help train your supply chain compliance needs, but also train your company personnel for going about it. And we have a regulatory team as well, and they are doing both a consultation from where they can help you with the regulatory issues in your program. They're also out constantly seeking new regulatory updates and ensuring that we are up to date on our end. I will give you a quick overview about our platform as we kind of discussed already. So we have a relational compliance database. Essentially, all the data for compliance is rolled up to your part subpart assembly, and that is your finished product. And then also, like any good platform would have, we have a very strong workflow engine. So the purpose of that is to ensure that proper notifications are triggered to prompt the users with required regulatory actions. And then, reporting and data analysis, which if you need to sort through your vast amount of data, analyze them, and specifically that could be in one part, one product or supplier in our platform, which is set up to do that for you as well. Then speaking of suppliers, we also have a bi-directional supplier portal, and that also allows you to speak both ways to your suppliers. So you can send information and data to them in the form of surveys, and they can send the data back to you. And this is as easy as one click in most cases. Then we also have a sort of discussed our professional support services that includes what I mentioned on the previous slide, but we have a full slate of people that are here to help support you, and whether it be just for the support or for turnkey services. All right, so now that you know a little bit more about who we are, we will dive into the today's topic. The CFSI has created and regularly updates the CMRT regulation. The CFSI also created the code for conflict-free smelted program and the reasonable country of origin inquiry data. CMRT module is a conflict mineral reporting template system that helps company perform their due diligence and disclose smelter information in their supply chain. So why do you need to care about a CMRT? Now, in the Section 1502 of the Dodd-Frank Act was a regulation that was passed by the Obama administration in 2010. It requires all public companies to disclose the use of conflict minerals that originated from the Republic of Congo, otherwise known as the DRC or the covered countries. The point of this law is meant to reduce the risk of purchased minerals from Central Africa, contributing to conflict or human rights abuse. So the current version that everyone should be using is the CMRT version 6.01. Okay, so we have a company. How does this apply to us now? This is the most common question that we receive from suppliers. Although the Dodd-Frank Act does not apply to private companies, it does affect public traded companies, even though you may not be required to report 3TG sourcing. The 3TG stands for tin, tungsten, tantalum, or gold, and may be considered a requirement for any contacts that you may have with a publicly traded company. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about common mistakes that we often see with what is submitted to be the CMRTs. One of the most common mistake on CMRT would be that there is no smelter information when claiming yes to any or all the 3TGs. So the purpose of the CMRT is being passed along the supply chain to the point that identifies the smelters used to refine or smelt the minerals, but really is a critical part of identifying conflict-free sourcing. So the second common mistake would be leaving information out on your CMRT submission template. So whether you're missing some company information at the top of the declarations page or forgetting an answer to one of the mandatory questions, and that essentially what will result is an incomplete submission. So there are some telltale signs to indicate if there's something missing. So first, if you have missed a cell, then it remains highlighted in yellow on the same part, and red printed error message in the right hand corner will also appear, which states that one or more of the required fields need to be populated. So this is actually a really easy fix here, and you can essentially just scroll through the page and find the yellow highlighted fields and just fill it in to complete your CMRT template ready for submission. So another common mistake is too much text and formatting in the template. Another mistake would be to end up having too many characters in a single cell or attempting to reformat the CMRT sheet. So both of these mistakes will cause the CMRT submission to come up as invalid. The form needs to remain in the same format without any alterations. So things like deleting tabs or deleting cells to avoid too much text is not encouraged or rather prohibited. You can prioritize the information that needs to be included in the comments section of the declarations page, and then essentially just input that information clearly and as concisely as possible, as those would ensure the clarity of the message. So lastly, the fourth common mistake would be filling out the wrong version of the CMRT. So you can submit anything that is of the version 4 or greater. And the most recent one, as I mentioned, is the version 6.01. And a blank copy of this can be actually downloaded from the CFSI website. And you can also access it on www.responsiblemineralinitiative.org. I also just wanted to go over a few best practices for completing your CMRT submissions. The first one would be to survey the entire supply chain, just ensuring that you're reaching out all of your suppliers and that you have the appropriate contact information at each company. And then capturing all the collected data into the CMRT module. So then just ensuring that you are inputting all the relevant information into your CMRT module for accuracy. And finally, reviewing the CMRT submission to ensure that it's complete. So make sure that you don't have any of those yellow incomplete highlighted fields or any red errors And there's also a check or tab on the CMRT form to help you identify if you have any conflicting answers and to make sure that everything is filled in properly. So a large part is we are going to try and take some questions to ensure that everyone you know can get the most information out of this session. So one of the questions that I see here is, what do you do if your supplier doesn't respond? So I have enough to give an answer to that. Thanks, Rachel. So that's a great question, and actually one that we get quite often. So a lot of people unaware about the whole process and what exactly you can change. So all you can do is survey your entire supply chain, showing what you have done, your due diligence, and educate your suppliers. And if they have any questions, you can just direct them to our Supplier Success Center on our website, and it has all the answers for any regulation questions that they may have. Okay, so great. So I have another question here. It says, what is the difference between a CMRT versus a company written declaration? So it's a really great question. Actually, the CMRT is the industry standard. It does provide the most accurate and extensive information on sourcing as opposed to these written declarations. So the purpose of the CMRT is you pass it along the supply chain to the point that identifies the smelters used to refine or smelt the minerals, and it's not their minerals. So it's really a critical part of identifying the conflict resourcing. So that's the type of information that a CMRT does provide, as opposite to a declaration, which can be rather very big and ultimately unuseful. Thank you.